Next, consideration for approval of the 2014 summer school compensation.
Our district policy indicates that the Board of Education will approve the compensation that is provided each year for summer school. And we've had a number of changes in pay for summer school. We used to pay remedial teachers according to the base wage, a percentage of their base wage. No, their per diem of their salary. So we would have, for instance, a teacher who perhaps has a master's degree or 20 years of experience, potentially $50 an hour, whereas another teacher who only had 2 years of experience might be earning $30 an hour. And then our enrichment teacher is only making $15 an hour. So a number of years ago, post-Act 10, it was decided to pay a flat fee, whether it was remedial or enrichment, of $25, and that's what we have done the last 2 years. However, we continue to hear from our teachers who teach the remedial classes that there is an inequity. The enrichment classes require, obviously, teachers to prepare their curriculum and teach it, but it doesn't require changing and prepping every day to meet the individual needs of students in the class as is required in the summer success classes. So for the students that are in the remedial classes, the teachers have to be much more attentive to, has the child developed an understanding of this particular concept? If they haven't, then I've got to do something different for them compared to the other student who maybe has now grasped that concept. So they have additional time, energy, work, prep that they put into their classes. So we did discuss this at the Employee Handbook Committee, and the suggestion was, rather than changing the rate of pay for those classes, why don't we provide more prep time for the teachers teaching the remedial classes, so that in essence they will earn some additional pay, but it's because they are putting in additional work time. So the chart is included for you, and I'll tell you, the prep time seems so minimal, but it really is comparable to what teachers get during the school year. So for instance, a morning enrichment class, that the class is an hour and 8 minutes long, we will pay them for an hour and 15 minutes. They get 7 minutes of preparation a day that we pay them for. But when you look at a normal teacher day, if they have 45, let's take a high school class where they're teaching 6 out of 8 classes, they have a duty, they have a prep for 45 minutes. 6 into 45 is 8 minutes, a little bit about that, 7, 8 minutes. So it's comparable. So what we're recommending is we give the summer success class teachers double the prep. They'll get 14 minutes of prep per day rather than 7 as a way to compensate them. That will come out to an additional hour of pay each week. So this is a starting point, I guess. It seemed like a reasonable compromise between additional pay or having a different rate of pay for the enrichment teachers. So, because the enrichment teachers will say, well, we have more kids, or, and many times they do, but then the remedial teacher's response is, but the kids that are taking the enrichment classes really do want to be there because they're more fun classes. The remedial classes are classes where kids have to be there to develop skills that they're deficient in, so they're not as happy to be in those classes. So there's pros and cons to both. But I think the argument that the remedial classes do take more time and prep because the teachers are more focused on the individual needs of the student, and then the idea that they do have to report back to parents at the end of the year, which requires more work, merits additional prep time, which equates to additional pay.
Do you know what the amount will be as far as an increase overall for the teachers that are doing the remedial classes for summer school? And how much will it increase the cost of summer school by doing this?
Well, it'll be about $25 for each of the remedial teachers, and I'm not sure how many for each week that they teach. So anticipate 2 3-week sessions. So that would be 6 times 25 is $150 more per remedial teacher. I'm not sure how many remedial teachers we have. It depends on what the numbers will be, but I'm assuming you're probably looking at close to maybe $1,500 additional, which is doable, right?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2014 summer school compensation as presented. Any other questions or comments?
One thing that can be said is that our summer school program is highly regarded, so I think it's only fair.
A lot of students participate.
Right.
Great program.
I'm just, maybe I'm not reading this right. So for morning, it goes from 1 hour 8 minutes to 1 hour 15 minutes. There's an additional 7 minutes for compensation. Afternoon, it went from 1 hour 6 to 1 hour 15, which would be another 9 minutes. How are we getting 14?
Well, then when you look at the 2 summer success classes down below, so their summer success, you have to teach both summer success classes. So they're an hour and they're in the afternoon. Well, if you look at 2 hours and 16 minutes, they're going to be compensated for 2 hours and 45 minutes, so that is 29 minutes more. This made all sorts of sense to me earlier this week.
I just can't get the numbers to work.
Well, let's see. The afternoon class is a little bit shorter, but we're still paying them for the 15 minutes. They're getting paid. So they're actually making a little bit more for teaching an enrichment class in the afternoon because they're getting 2 additional minutes of prep. But the summer success class, there's one in the morning and one in the afternoon. They're both in the morning. They teach 2 in the morning. So then they're both 2 hours. So that will total 2 hours and 16 minutes. Thank you, Sharon. So they're getting...
There's an enrichment between the 2. Summer success, enrichment, summer success. Lunch, and then a final enrichment.
But the teachers who teach summer, you can teach 1 enrichment class, right? Are you required to teach 2 enrichments? No, but you're required to teach both summer success classes. So a teacher can teach just a morning enrichment class or an afternoon enrichment class or 3 enrichment classes. However many they want, but when you're teaching the summer success classes, you have to teach both, and they're both an hour and 8 minutes long. So 2 hours and 16 minutes is the class length. Then instead of paying them for an hour and 15 minutes, we're paying them for an hour and 2 morning enrichment classes would equate to 2 hours and 30 minutes of prep, we're paying them for 2 hours and 45 minutes of prep, which is 15 minutes more, which is 7.5 each class. It does make sense somehow.
You agree, Sharon?
Fif-
Makes
It
sense?
did make sense when I was reviewing it, yes.
Okay.
It's an extra 7 minutes of prep time for each class for the summer success.
So 7.5 minutes.
7.5 for 15 minutes per day, not 14.
You'd be like Greg saying,
Eight.
going back to the drawing board.
The bottom line is we're paying them for additional prep, and it's about 14 or 15 minutes more a day.
All right, regardless of the numbers, they're getting 14 minutes
Or 15.
or 15 minutes being paid for extra 14 to 15 minutes prep per day.
Which equates to about an hour a week. Because 15 minutes times 4 days a week is an hour, so $25 per
Okay.
week.
Is that the understanding out there, Sharon?
We got the thumbs up.
Got it.
All right,
I should have had Michelle here to explain that.
all right. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Did we have a motion and a second on
I
that?
did a motion.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
second.
Sorry about
Jan,
that.
I think.
Should have had Greg finalize those numbers for me. These things.
Okay, back to the motion. So we do have a motion and a second to approve the 2014 summer school compensation as presented. Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The ayes have it, that motion carries, and so the compensation as presented is approved. Thanks from the audience, too.